This is silver's price chart so far in the year 2024, doing the inevitably unexpected explosive move upwards that some knew would happen, like you and I, we just didn't know when. Patience truly is a virtue, and that is something that most investors lack. They need immediate validation. The price needs to go up right now, and if it doesn't, of course, put their money elsewhere into something much riskier that doesn't make anywhere near as much sense as silver in terms of possibly rising. But why? Looking at the data, it's quite obvious. Silver's been a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode. The signs have been in front of us all along. See, I actually do know why. But the reason is so baffling. People were turned off because it was so cheap. But isn't that the point of investing into something, getting it while it's cheap? Price, I guess, truly is the greatest tool of misdirection after all. True silver stackers knew this would happen. We didn't need confirmation and validation for the price to rise. We knew all along, and we know it's only the beginning. And trust me, if you think it's going to stop at $32, you are going to be sadly mistaken. Alright folks, we have a lot to break down in this video since a lot has been happening over the past couple of days. First and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to be updated on a daily basis of what's happening in the world of precious metals, then make sure you click subscribe and also click the bell. I do cover everything since everything affects the price of silver. Then if I just covered one area, we would be missing a large piece of the puzzle. For example, the Iranian president unfortunately passing away in the helicopter crash and how that could affect the price as well. Geopolitics plays a huge role, so at least make sure you're subscribed to a channel similar to mine that covers everything, because if not, you're being left in the dark. We could look at silver's prices all day, but if we don't understand what's affecting the price, then are we really learning anything? I also know that people are desperately and frantically running around like a chicken with its head cut off trying to find cheap, safe, reliable dealers that still have silver even available, since a lot don't. Well, look no further, because Miles Franklin does. In this week's specials, Philharmonics only $315 over spot. We have 10-ounce bars, $240 over spot, generic rounds, $235 over spot. You name it, we have it for a good price. Email me, slayer@milesfranklin.com, or call me 330-485-6172. You will not be disappointed. Now, what's going on with the price of silver? We have this first article from FX Empire, silver price forecast, rate cut bets, record gold prices, driving momentum. We also have silver breaking through key resistance, which is a huge deal that we'll talk about. We also have silver outperforms gold with over 25% surge this year alone. We also have this article that came out, silver price forecast hits new high at $32.52, faces resistance zone. So there's a lot going on. A lot of articles are popping up, which is going to also generate more buzz, more attention, more hype, meaning new investors, new money, or old money from old investors trying to capitalize. Once again, a lot of people are starting to keep their eye on the silver ball and hop on the silver bandwagon, which, remember, silver is a much smaller market than gold, so prices are moved a lot easier, more volatile. Here's another article, silver price prediction. Silver heads higher on demand outlook and weak dollar fundamentals. That's an important thing to note. Silver demand booming, the dollar is inevitably going to collapse to zero, so that's only going to ensure and guarantee that silver stackers will come out on top with the last laugh, regardless of what the price does right now, because we all know the dollar will eventually die. Every fiat-based system collapses. Most last around a century. The dollar is, I think, the longest lasting one. It's lost 98% of its original purchasing power, 44% in the last 20 years alone. And when I say that we are almost $35 trillion in debt, I'm being serious. When I say the dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, 99% will be pretty soon, and is going to hit 100%, meaning it's going to collapse. There has to be a new reset. What do you think is going to last and during a global reset when all the financial markets, especially the US dollar as a world reserve currency, is getting dethroned? De-dollarization is happening. What do you think is going to happen to precious metals? The things that are backing the new currencies that the BRICS are creating. You don't need to be Einstein to recognize this stuff. But for some reason, some people do, I guess, need to hear it from Einstein himself or something. Because I could be screaming at you guys all day to buy silver, but people won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Yet they'll go jump into some random, cryptocurrency that has no purpose behind it, no value. There's no reason for it to rise except for maybe, a meme coin or something. Anyways, I'll get off my tangent about other investors. You guys know what's up if you're watching this channel. So yeah, let's talk silver. So silver prices reached an 11-year high on Monday, driven by economic data and expectations for Fed rate cuts. It is like everything is aligning for silver to take off, because not only have we broken above this resistance level, but now more things are happening to further validate these prices, meaning there is stability. Prices are stabilizing above the current or the previous resistance levels, meaning that now there are new bottoms, which means it's not only easier for silver's price to go upwards, but it's harder for silver's price to go back downwards. That's why resistance levels are so important to pay attention to, because now it's easier for it to go higher and it's harder for it to go lower, where before it was vice versa. It would hit the resistance and back down, so it's harder for it to go upwards and it's easier for it to go downwards. But that's things are flip-flopping. It's incredible. So China's measures to stabilize its property sector support industrial metals, influencing silver's ascent to multi-year highs. And remember, this is important. China, because China's the biggest consumer of silver. So all the stars are aligning. Silver prices surged multi-year highs. Silver reached 11-year high Monday, driven by by economic data that has strengthened expectations for interest rate cuts by the U.S. Federal Reserve. Recent inflation data has contributed to this bullish outlook for silver, with traders focusing on Fed's upcoming policy meeting minutes for further guidance. Then you have some expectations, broader metals, complex influence. Silver's rise is also benefiting from a broader surge in the metals complex. The metals' ascent to new highs is likely a spillover effect from this broader market movement, rather than a direct response to safe haven demand, despite geopolitical tensions following the death of Iranian President Ibrahim. So China's recent historic measures to stabilize its crisis-hit property sector have also played a role in supporting industrial metals, including silver, as a key consumer of silver. Like I mentioned, it's the biggest consumer. China's actions are critical in shaping the demand outlook for the metal, like I was just mentioning. See, I don't even have to read these bottom parts, the context of these articles, because I already mentioned most of it before we even get down to it. Just, because, I keep up to date with this stuff, folks. I know what I'm talking about. So Federal Reserve's mixed signals. Despite some indications of easing inflation, Fed officials have maintained cautious stance. Recent comments from Federal Chairman Jerome Powell reflect a balanced view, acknowledging the mixed nature of recent inflation data while still expressing confidence in a downward inflation trend over the long term. So he's kind of, he's playing both sides, which rightfully so. I would too. If I imagine being in his position, having to report to the masses about I couldn't. You would have to be very careful on what you say, because one wrong word or one misinterpreted word could send markets off the wall, and they do. And even without him saying a word, just the speculation leading up to the FOMC meeting before he steps out and says XYZ, the markets are going crazy. And it's mostly speculative, even what he does say. It's like we expect we expect 4 base point rate cut by the year. It's all speculative. The April CPI report, which showed a slight slowdown in both headline and core inflation, has ended a streak of upside surprises, but more important, prices rose significantly, indicating persistent inflationary pressures. So here's the forecast. In the short term, silver prices are expected to remain bullish, supported by ongoing expectations of Fed rate cuts and positive sentiment from the broader metals market. However, traders should closely monitor upcoming economic data and Fed communications, as these will be critical in shaping market movements. The release of the Fed's meeting minutes on Wednesday could provide a key insight, potentially influencing market sentiment. Overall, outlook remains positive. So there we have silver breaking through this key resistance level. You can see this 31-year cup and 11-year handle that is formed is absolutely beautiful. And, if you were going to college and you took a class on looking at charts and seeing what chart looks explosive, well, you couldn't get a more beautiful picture than this, folks. I mean, it is so baffling that even with data thrown straight in front of people's faces, they still say, I'm not going to pay $30 for an ounce of silver. I'm going to go buy $30 of Bitcoin instead. Despite gold prices rising $621, silver largely remained in the shadow of gold's strong performance, right? So after gold prices reached new all-time highs of $2,431, a sharp pullback between mid and late April created confusion and misjudgments even among leading analysts. Nevertheless, a strong recovery found its way back to the top. While gold achieved its first weekly close above $2,400 ever, silver has been breaking through its key resistance zone around $30. Despite gold prices rising by $621 or 34%, from the major low on October 6, 2023, silver largely remained in the shadows of gold's strong performance, hence the typical exuberance in silver prices during final stages of a rally in precious metal sectors yet to manifest. However, a breakout above the resistance zone around 30, which has fended off every attack since August 2020, is now signaling a final surge for silver in the coming weeks. And this came out yesterday, meaning that in the coming weeks, we could see an even bigger surge. Want proof? Since May 2nd, the gold to silver ratio has dropped significantly from nearly 88 to below 77 to 1. This indicates that silver is outperforming gold. On the weekly chart, the gold to silver ratio is currently sliding southward along the lower Bollinger Band, and the only obstacle for the silver bulls, which had been the rising trend line of the past 4 years. That's been the only obstacle. The only obstacle the silver bulls had been the rising trend line for the past 4 years. As the breakthrough has clearly occurred, the next targets are waiting in the range of 75 to 72, or in an extreme case around 62 to 68, which that would be extremely bullish, meaning the gold to silver ratio would be sitting around 62 to 1 or 68 to 1. Now, we saw it as high as 125 to 1 in March of 2020 when silver was $11. And then we saw it, obviously go down. We saw it up to 90s though when gold was breaking record highs some months ago, and now it's still going down. If it goes down to 60 though, we'll be talking about, we would be talking about 40 something dollars silver with gold still sitting only around, 20, high, maybe like 2,700. Who knows really what the ratio would look like, since both metals are moving at different speeds. And that is because they are both influenced by two different things, since they are used for two different things. And I do think that silver will start to take on a life of its own regardless of what gold's doing. And that's because it is also an industrial metal. Right now, yes, the metals are moving closely together because they are both monetarily affecting, or they're being affected monetarily in the markets. But as soon as the industrial side, the industrial sector kicks in, that's where silver can start doing things on its own, where gold really doesn't have much influence in. So silver and other metals experienced a significant price increase this year, silver gaining more than 25% since the beginning of 2024. Let's see, anything else for here? No. Silver hits $32.52 high, faces a resistance. So that's where we're sitting at right now. Fibonacci confluence marks resistance from 32 to 32.36. Larger bullish picture remains. Now let's check this out. Silver remains bullish in the bigger picture. Last week it advanced to a new long-term trend high on a move above $30.14. It closed last week at its highest weekly closing price since February 2013. Last week's advance also triggered the continuation of a large bull flag. The initial advance of the pattern designated the pull for the flag pattern, and initial advance from the pattern pull saw a rise of 156.5% in the price of natural gas in a relatively short amount of time. Wow. So yeah, that's where we're at with silver. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff I could, there's more stuff going on, but for the sake of this video already being pretty long, just tune in for the next one. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap the video up here, folks. Remember, I post daily, so make sure you subscribe. Like this article came out 2 hours ago. Silver eyes $50. This is stuff I'll be covering this in the next video, so stay tuned. This came out 2 hours ago. Everything I give you is fresh off the press, right? Everything I give you, fresh off the press. This article came out 2 hours ago. I'm about to make a video as soon as I end this one. Always making sure you guys have the inside scoop. You'll never miss a beat around here. Plus, if you guys wanted to purchase gold, silver, platinum, palladium, just email me, slayer@milesfranklin.com, or call me 330-485-6172. I always try to answer the phone on the spot if I'm not already on the phone with another client, which has been happening a lot recently. Regardless, though, I'll call you back, or you could text me or email me. I promise I'll give you guys great deals. Philharmonics 315 over spot. We have Maples 360 over spot. We have Britannia's 3 something over spot. We have everything you could think of: 100-ounce bars, 10-ounce bars, 5-ounce bars, 1,000-ounce Comex bars. We have rounds, 90% silver, $3 over spot. You name it, we have it for a good price. Most dealers online and in store, local, they're all running out of silver. But we don't have to worry about that around here, folks, and you shouldn't either. So build that business relationship with us and hit me up. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.